Welcome to week 8 of Big Balls Fantasy Football, the only show by real fantasy football fans for real fantasy football fans. I'm your host, 20-year fantasy veteran and fan of, unfortunately, the now decimated Chicago Bears, Greg Reifsteck.
And I am your co-host, Jenilee Borek, also a 10-year fantasy veteran and a Chicago Bear fan. We're 4-3, our season's not going so well, and together we are the beauty
And the beast
of fantasy football experts.
So out there, we know there are very few of you fantasy managers that can say you have a perfect record. And that's because bye weeks have been tough, and there have been tons of injuries, and a lot of what we're about to talk about.
That's right, and the one thing that even experts like us can't always predict is who are going to be the busts of the season. There are quite a few of them out there this year. So, who is your bust of the season?
My bust this season is Doug Martin. I'm pissed at you, dude. I drafted you third in one of my drafts. Third pick, thinking this guy's going to be spectacular. And you know what happens? The muscle hamster ends up having a squeaky wheel, for crying out loud. I mean, last season, 1,454 yards, 11 touchdowns. You're thinking, he's going to be a lock this year. He's going to get me a ton of points. Oh, no. You're busted, dude. You're totally busted, Mr. Martin, because 127 attempts and 456 rushing yards, one touchdown. It's going into week 8. And now, as a supreme bonus, he kind of almost put me out of my injury. He gets injured and gets a torn labrum in his shoulder. So, Cash will tell you about who his replacement is later in the show. But, I mean, he just didn't do it for me this year. I didn't just trade him, I put him out to pasture. I had to do it.
Well, I have a bust as well, and he is on one of my fantasy teams. My bust for this season is wide receiver DWAYNE BOWE. I picked him 1 week in my Real Men to start him, and he actually had a decent week that week. But otherwise, on the season, he's not doing so good. He has 295 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, I know I thought, hey, Kansas City paid him a lot of money, new coach and everything.
And Kansas City has been doing well. They're undefeated.
Yep. And Andy Reid likes to throw the ball. Bo's going to get a ton of catches. And most of the throws, are short yardage throws. Mm-hmm. And that's why Jamal Charles actually at the running back position has more receiving yards than DWAYNE BOWE has. So that's sad when a running back has more receiving yards than your wide receiver.
Yes. So, Mr. Bowe, you're busted. Anyway, let's talk about the Bears. Speaking of disappointments, this week at Tin Horn, everybody was drinking a lot of beer and everybody was pissed off because our team just got decimated, not only by the refs, thank you NFL, but also injuries on both sides of the ball. You want to tell us about that, Jenilee?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, our defense has been injured for a few weeks. We've lost 2 people on the defensive line, Henry Melton being the big one there, and Charles Tillman is still playing through an injury. Mm-hmm. We lost Lance Briggs to a shoulder, so that's the big one. Mm-hmm. The captain of our defense is now gone for 4 to 6 weeks.
Ouch. Is
what I've been hearing. And of course, our quarterback Cutler went down, had to put the backup in, McCown. Mm-hmm. It just wasn't pretty. And we almost won still. So I think that's the disappointing part, is that we still played well enough on offense.
Yeah.
Our defense couldn't stop anything.
No.
At all.
No.
And then we lost.
They're awful at this point, our defense, and this injury only makes it worse. Our line is good. Our offensive line is great. Those 2 rookies on the blind side have been doing fantastic for Cutler, which is why it's kind of shocking that somebody came in and tore his groin. Ow. As a guy, I can't even think of that.
Yeah, he got hurt again. And Forte's running well. I mean, the line is opening up holes for him. So it's disappointing. And I don't know what's going to happen with our season now. I mean, I'm sitting here honestly predicting an 8-8 season at this point.
Wow.
With all the injuries going on. I don't know if McCown can carry us. If we're lucky, he can. If we're lucky, Forte will. But I'm just not convinced that we are going to do so well.
I like McCown's chances, and especially against the Packers. Well, we have a bye week, so he's going to get to, get his reps in practice, get the playbook, in his head. Only problem is, as long as he doesn't get Caleb Haney's disease. And we know what Caleb Haney's disease is. Goes crazy in a key game, brings us back, almost has us win, looks like a stud, and then when we put him as a starter, plays like garbage. But there's a really good stat that we have for Josh McCown. In the last 10 meetings that the Bears have had with the Packers, Jenilee, we've gone 1 for 9. Thanks, Lovey Smith.
Yeah, we're bad against the Packers.
Thanks,
really
Lovey
bad.
Smith. But even though it was a loss, in one of the games we played against them, Josh McCown got the highest points against the Packers, 21 points. I'll take 21 points against the Packers when we play them on Monday Night Football because, honestly, the Packers haven't been looking that hot on offense either. They just kind of found themselves last week. So
yeah, and they're dealing with a lot of injuries too on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
So, we'll see if they have any of their starters back that are out right now. But, it's definitely going to be a tough game.
Definitely. All right, well, let's get on to some better news. Let's get to Jenilee's Real Men of the Week. You ready?
Absolutely. Let's get to it.
Let's do it.